Welcome back to Authenticity Unleashed. I'm Pam Rader, and I'm here to tell some truths, to straight up dive into what it takes to live our most authentic lives. Now, why would anyone want to strive to live an authentic life? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, when we live inauthentically, we're living someone else's life. And when we're living someone else's life, that's not worth living for. Number two, to really become the best version of ourselves and share that with the world, we've got to be on the hunt for our most authentic selves all the time. So today I want to dive in to something really close to my heart, and it's the distinction between honesty and truth. To me, it's fascinating, the distinction between honesty and truth. You might think they're the same thing, but essentially they're not quite. So let's start by defining our terms. Honesty is often seen as straightforwardness, sincerity, and truthfulness in one's words and actions. So we do what we say we're going to do. It's about being truthful in what we say and do. So my words match my actions. But truth, the big capital T truth, that's a bit more nuanced. And truth to me encompasses not just what's said, but what's real, what's genuine, and what's authentic beneath the surface. Consider this scenario. You tell your partner that you'll be home at 7 p.m. But as the night progresses and you realize you could actually be home a little sooner, you find yourself avoiding heading back. And you might justify this by saying, I'm being honest about where I am, and I'm honest about when I'm going to be home. But is that the truth? Perhaps not. The truth could be that you're avoiding a difficult conversation or a situation at home because you lack the courage or the skills to address it. Perhaps the truth is that you feel overwhelmed by your responsibilities awaiting you at home. Perhaps you feel disconnected from your partner and you don't know what to do about it. Now, that's very different than just being honest. Yeah, I was home when I said I'd be home. That's honesty, but the truth could be something that could actually help to alleviate all of those fears and complaints. In that scenario, the honesty is sort of the surface level communication of your whereabouts, but the truth lies in the deeper motivations driving your actions. And this is where it gets really interesting, folks. Exploring the distinction between honesty and truth opens up a whole world of introspection and self-awareness. It really requires us to dig beneath the facade of our words and actions to uncover the underlying realities of our thoughts and our feelings and our intentions. So let's just say that a friend invites you for dinner and you check your calendar and there's something on your calendar. Now, you know internally that you could easily move that thing on the calendar, but you say, sorry, I have something already happening that night. I've got something going on already. I can't make it. So you're being honest, but you might not be being truthful. Maybe the truth is that you felt misaligned with this person for a long time and you're not sure what that means for your friendship and you don't know how to deal with that. Maybe the truth is that you're holding on to an old hurt or an old resentment and you're getting them back by withdrawing your presence and your love. In any case, honesty will keep the status quo in the relationship, but it won't resolve anything underlying. And when you avoid the truth is the thing that will cause something new to happen in your relationship. So I'm going to tell you a personal story here. I don't know about you, but have you ever been angry with someone and you told them you were angry and then they didn't like it and you said, I'm just being honest about my feelings? Yeah, that's a pretty common scenario. But to say you're angry is only half the truth because anger is often sad's bodyguard. Anger is often covering up something much deeper. It's a protective emotion. Now, if you want real growth and real depths in your relationship, you got to move beyond that surface honesty and just playing it safe and be willing to dive into the vulnerable truths that could set you free. So there was a time in my marriage when I found out, and I was devastated. I found out that my husband had been dishonest with me about some financial stuff. I found some credit cards that I didn't know he had, and I felt immediately so angry that he had hid something from me. And especially something so important. We were in the midst of a big financial transaction, buying a house, and I was furious. After I unleashed, and let me tell you, I unleashed a good dose of fury on him. I was the epitome of hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. Um, but I also have done a lot of work, and I knew that I had to do the work of diving into the deeper truths. What was really going on beneath the surface? And when I got to the truth of it, anger wasn't the half of it. It was really that I felt rejected. I felt humiliated. I felt downright scared that my husband was capable of keeping something so important from me. And I was scared for my future. I was scared that I didn't maybe know this person I thought that I loved so much. Now, when I could actually articulate what was really going on, then my husband and I were able to have a real conversation that just angry wouldn't have let us have. It turned out that my husband, he's 8 years younger than me, and he was watching all my friends who had like cabins and boats and all the things that they were doing. And he wanted me to be able to have all those things. But in his career, he wasn't really at that place just yet where he could afford to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. And he also didn't want to say no to me about anything. Now, that wasn't the whole truth either. I had to dig a little bit deeper and say, like, why couldn't he bring that to me? And I had to own the deeper truth that on some level, I was unapproachable. On some level, he didn't feel safe to come to me and say, hey, I can't afford this, or we can't do this right now. Instead, he felt the need to go and hide and do what he could to make it happen. Well, that, folks, is on me. So it's real easy to stay in anger and say this is your fault and you did something you shouldn't have done. But the real truth can set you free and set you up for the next level of a relationship. So I looked inside and I thought, I don't want to be the kind of partner that my husband can't even talk to. So I had a little soul searching to do, and I needed to learn to show up in ways that my husband felt comfortable saying no to me without fear. Eventually, I came to think of this as the greatest thing that actually happened in our marriage because we solved a lot of problems by going beneath the honesty of I'm just angry and him, I'm just hiding, to I feel. Eventually, I felt like it was the best thing that ever happened to our marriage because we got to a deeper place of real truth. And that let us both feel more connected. And it led to some ease in telling the truth later on in our marriage that just keeps building things deeper and deeper in our relationship. We've been together 18 years, and I can tell you that it just keeps getting more beautiful because we're both willing to tell the hard truths. So carry this forward a few months, and my husband, it was winter time, and we have dogs, and the snow had started to melt, almost spring. And I asked him, "Could you please go outside and pick up all the dog poop?" Do you guys have that problem when you've got the dogs in the winter, then the snow goes over it, and it's like a minefield out there? And I said, "Could you please do that?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going to do that today." And then he didn't do it. And then I reminded him again the next day, and he didn't do it. And then the weekend went by and he didn't do it. And he came home and I was furious. I said, "You said you were going to pick up the dog poop and you didn't." And I was losing my ever loving mind. And then my husband knew enough to come to me, and he put his hands on my shoulders and he said, "What's really going on? This isn't about the dog poop." See, he was willing to seek the truth. And then I took a deep breath and I thought about it. And I said, when you tell me you're going to do something and you don't, I don't trust you. It triggers that old wound when you were hiding something from me. And he said, oh my God, I would never want to do that to you. I'm going out right now. Got the bucket, went and picked up the dog poop. But you see, it's never about the thing on the surface. We could be honest without being truthful. And if you want to have the most beautiful, vibrant, amazing life, then you've got to be willing to get down and dirty with yourself into the inquiry. What's really going on? Why is that going on? What am I really afraid of? And I'll tell you what, anytime you're angry, if you ask yourself what's really going on, it's probably some version of I'm sad, I'm scared, or I'm uncertain. Again, anger is a protective emotion. So if we get beneath it and we ask ourselves what's really going on, maybe we can get to some real resolutions in our lives. So understanding the difference between honesty and truth can lead to greater authenticity and connection in our relationships. And when we arrive at the most truthful place with ourselves and others, we create space for genuine understanding and deeper intimacy. And isn't that what we're all looking for, you guys? Deeper connection, deeper sense of being seen and heard and known. But here's the kicker. The truth is not easy. It requires vulnerability. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our lives. And it means acknowledging our flaws, our fears, our insecurities, even and especially when it's uncomfortable. It's in the discomfort that growth and transformation truly occur. And by embracing the truth of who we are and what we feel, we open up the door to a deeper self-reflection, understanding, and action. So as you go about your day, I encourage you to reflect on the distinction between honesty and truth in your own life. Are there areas where you've been honest but not necessarily truthful? What uncomfortable truths might you be avoiding? And how can you lean into those truths with courage and compassion? So take this with you, do with it what you will, but I hope that I've given you a little something to chew on that will lead you a little closer to unleashing your authenticity.